The Fellowship of Guelphissauga continues, with Bill C18 blocking the news on the housing cost crisis. The Lord of the Liberals took another tiptoe towards tyranny with the implementation of Bill C18. The bill was designed to force big tech companies to compensate news outlets for their content, but instead they chose to ban all news sites, whether they were real news or not. Meanwhile, the mayor dealt with the floods on Victoria Road and the road rage assaults that ensued. Can Carly of Klassen and the Elder Elves fix the housing cost crisis? And will Bill C18 stop us from sharing the real news? The Lord of the Liberals took another tiptoe towards tyranny with the implementation of Bill C18. He took his first big step into tyranny during the truckers' convoy by blocking the bank accounts of Canadians supporting them, and is now taking another step with Bill C18. The bill was designed to force big tech companies such as Meta and Google to compensate media outlets for stealing their content and selling lucrative ads around it. Instead of paying out, Meta and Google decided to block all Canadian news content on their platforms, even if it was proper news or not. Several satirical news reporters were also caught up in the ban, such as the Beaverton and the Toronto Herald. The Toronto Herald was able to get unblocked after dealing with Meta's tech support, whereas the Beaverton took a different approach. In a letter posted on Twitter, the Beaverton threatened Meta's CEO Mark Zuckerberg with what they call a clearly fake lawsuit for defaming the Beaverton by calling them a legit news organization. Back at the Council of Elders chambers, the mayor replaced the batteries in the back of his Game Boy and loaded up the save file of his European-inspired SimCity. He wanted to go full YIMBY mode with his $13.7 million surplus, but instead had to deal with the red alerts filling up his screen. In the early morning, a giant water main broke on Victoria Road and was flooding the streets. It was causing huge traffic jams and pissed off the local Karens and drivers, especially the guy in the blue Mazda Protege who constantly speeds down Victoria with a joint in his hand. The mayor panicked as he called the corporation of the Shire's construction workers during their morning siesta time. The construction workers took the call on the 10th ring and agreed to fix the problem. They eventually showed up to repair the water main, but by then the damage had already been done. The immense flood caused the hair on the back of Karen's neck to rise, and local bros got enraged at the slight inconvenience while driving. Just before 9 a.m., police were called to the intersection of Aramosa and Victoria Road. Some guy was just walking his dog when he saw an angry bro standing on the corner yelling and swearing. He said he tried to avoid him, but the bro still approached him and punched him in the face from all the road rage. After arriving in the hospital and paying for parking, it was confirmed that the guy's nose was broken as well, just like the water main on Victoria Road. Whereas a local green store took a more humorous approach to the traffic problem. They had front row seats as they watched all the lost drivers turn around in the Speedvale Plaza. They seized the opportunity to remind people that during construction season, it's illegal to make left turns at Speedvale and Woolwich, unlike their products which are now legal and available for purchase in their store. But this was all just fine according to S&P Global Ratings, who gave the Corporation of the Shire another AAA credit score rating. According to S&P's report, the Shire's credit profile benefits from strong management, as evidenced by generally good political consensus in passing budgets and effective revenue and expenditure planning practices. The mayor smirked as he received the redundant perfect score from S&P Global Ratings. Unlike regular households, the Corporation of the Shire has control over municipal fiscal policy and can simply vote to increase their income at will, just like they did last fall. No wonder they got a perfect score from the S&P Global Ratings. If only the residents at 90 Carden Street also had the power to increase their incomes at will. They're facing eviction and cash buyouts to vacate the last affordable rentals in the Shire. Most have already left, and those who are still there have until the end of September to leave. With rent ranging from $560 to $1,000, there's no way they can afford the current market rate of $2,000 plus for a standard apartment. I'm not sure what to do. Nobody listens, nobody wants to help, nobody even acknowledges we're existing in that building, said Letty of Jones, who has lived in the second floor apartment for the last 7 years. The few options left for those families are to set up camp under the Hanlon Bridge or in Riverside Park. Meanwhile, in the homeless encampment in Riverside Park, the minimum wage earners did their best to survive the Shire's housing cost crisis. Their tent city has expanded across the river with a new dining tent set up beside the bridge. They're also picking up new light fixtures to prepare for the shorter days ahead. A turf war looms on the horizon as they encroach on the disc golfers and Bible pushers' territories in the park. The Bible pushers were forced south due to climate change knocking over a huge tree on their usual spot, similar to the tree falling on the wading pool in Exhibition Park this week. They now have to defend their turf each day as they try to help people looking for their new family. Whereas the disc golfers are actually looking forward to the new features on their small 9-hole course. The extra tents, disassembled bikes, and trash piles will provide them with a more technical game. Soon enough, the entire disc golf course at Riverside Park will be just like hole number 7, where it's a penalty stroke if you hit someone's car or house with your disc. Can Carly of Klassen and the Elder Elves fix the housing cost crisis? And will Bill C18 stop us from sharing the news? Stay tuned here to see.